And I've told people that this message is worth more than anything that I've ever made or whatever in my life.
So, John, thank you so much for joining me for this short discussion and dialogue for the next few minutes. Greatly appreciate that you've joined me. Maybe say a few words about yourself.
I'm a Canadian, married to a Swiss. I've been living in Switzerland for 25 years. Before that, I was involved in Canada in a number of entrepreneurial and business activities. Moved to Switzerland and got involved in, after a short while here, I got involved in a thing called neuroscience, neurofeedback, biofeedback, and that's what I've been doing. I had been doing for the past 25 years, and I was very passionate about it. And I'm very grateful is that in the past year, couple of years, around the pandemic, I've had people call me to show appreciation for how I help them.
And I know you've come across a lot of employees and even line managers that are desperately searching for some kind of help. And line managers are clearly the #1 reason why people leave their jobs. And in burnout cases, managers are cited as one of the key reasons why people burn out, because of the lack of appreciation they give, or even the aggression that they're giving to their employees. But with your expertise and also around the neuroscience, why are line managers creating this crazy situation for their employees?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of people. One thing I liked about the neuroscience was we got away from judging people. The psychological thing is we started to understand a state of mind, how the brain functions. So people become stuck. Now there's the quote saying, well, he's in his comfort zone. And I'm saying that's baloney. What it is that people become stuck in their states. So what has happened is that many people they learn, it's what they learn as a child. And I say it's based on survival, what they're taught by their parents. And what they're taught by teachers or what they're taught by other people is based on this survival. And it's based on the belief system. And the belief system is really hard to change. And I can talk about it with experience, is that when I got into the neurofeedback stuff, I had to change some of my ways of thinking. And it was hard. It took practice, but I did change my way of thinking. And it made, and now at age 70, I'm so grateful that it did, because it really changed my life. I let go of some really old, stupid ideas and beliefs.
And when you talk about, stuck, line managers, employees, just people getting stuck, what are the factors that drive them into that stuck state? And, what are the factors that cause line managers in particular to then impact their employees negatively?
Well, again, like I said, is that when they're young or whatever, they're taught by their parents are controlling. Parents are, and this is what happened to me, is my father did not support or encourage me. I always looked for it. And this is what we're looking for, and especially it's called in brain, the dopamine. We want to be rewarded. And so the problem is that when we're young, and as we're getting older, we're taught, the belief system. And I was talking to my daughter this afternoon, and the whole reward is that money, power, you will be happy. And I call that the happiness scam. With the neurofeedback stuff that I've been doing, is what we try to do is change through stimulation, various ways of stimulation. We change those connections, and then they can see life from a different perspective. And then I said that a way of living, that I also teach them a way of living to maintain this state of mind. But it's really amazing how they become stuck and they believe that this is a way of living they should be in. It may be a miserable way, but they believe this is the way. I've often said that I've interviewed a number of business people, and I say, I ask them one major question: what do you want? And I get a blank stare. They have been told, this is what you should have, this is what you should want. And it's through repetition. It's a belief. This is what they believe. Some people eventually do wake up and they question that, but not many, because our television, our news, our education repetitiously tells us, also is the managers, right? You get educated, then you're up here. And we're told that a carpenter or a doctor's assistant, they're down here, they're servants. And so, of course, much of the problems that we have today is low self-esteem, and that's one of the things I'm focusing now, is support and encouragement. This is what I try to do on a regular basis with my family, with friends, support, encouragement. Authentic, of course, but support and encouragement, so people start to have a good feeling. I'm just going to add a little story here. I was talking to a lady who had a son here in Switzerland, ADD. And so I talked to her and I said, she said he's seeing a psychologist. The psychologist told her, more structure. And I laughed, because what we children need is, they need reward. Honest reward for what they've done. And what it'll do is it'll motivate them. And this is what's happening within the business place right now. People are getting controlled. They're getting threatened on a constant basis, 8 to 9 hours a day, constantly told where they've gone wrong. And it affects their motivation. And that's why a lot of people now, young people, are leaving their jobs, especially in hotels and whatever. They're quitting their jobs. They want to go and start someplace where they can say, I've got my life, I want to feel better. And my biggest challenge, and what we talk about, is how do we get people to wake up and realize that to motivate your employees, you've got to kind of be nice to them. Yeah,
absolutely. And you covered a lot in what you just said, but if I connect a few of the dots from that kind of happiness scam through to the way that we are brought up through school with parents, when we arrive in work, many people are then driven down that path of, as you said, kind of structure, control. We have to control everybody. When people are not in control or being controlled, then this creates a threatened situation or a fear situation, which can then lead to, increased anxiety, and if it's really bad, through to burnout. So you mentioned a few of the kind of practices and things that you've been doing to help people there. So what are some of those practices and skills that are available, and how can managers, employees, or just anybody gain those skills?
Well, it was interesting. A number of years ago, I gave a presentation, got involved with the IT world. And I gave a presentation at Google. The interesting thing, especially with Scrum, is they talked about, you do an iteration, and then what you do is, the idea was to do a reflection, right? But what they were doing is they're still staying busy. And I said, no. I said, what you have to learn is to learn how to turn off. We need to learn how to change our states of mind. Because what's happening is that people right now, in our constant state, 8 to 9 hours a day, busy, force. And so what happens is they become very narrow-minded, like this. And what's happening is that many of these people are going home after having beers, taking drugs to calm down. But what you can do is learn how to calm down on your own. Now they're talking a lot, even in business, mindfulness, meditation, and taking a break, turning off. They're telling people who are sitting behind the computers to stand up and take a walk. And what you're doing is you're changing your state of mind. They talk a lot now about this most simplest of things, and they've been talking about for thousands of years, but now they're talking about is breathing. Because breathing calms the system, but also it changes your focus. You focus on your breathing rather than focusing on what you should be doing or have to be doing. So that's one of the very basic things that I'm teaching and I tell people is to get, and what we need, how we change is not just go take a pill or force. It's repetition, because we have to change through a pattern. Our brain is a pattern. So if we practice something, then eventually our brain will change the pattern. We can do that again with the neurofeedback through training, repetition. They're now doing stimulation, electrical stimulation, to change that connection with a different frequency. And then all of a sudden people see, oh, wonderful. They can see something they never saw before. But again, it's a way of living, it's practice. There has to be a desire, though, because it takes effort. Unfortunately, today, as like a lot of people, even in management, people don't want to put in the effort to become a good manager. Like, each person is different. But what a lot of the managers want to do is say, okay, I'm going to manage everybody the same way. And they have to follow the rules. But what we have to learn is each person is different. That's what I had to learn with my children. My son and my daughter were two different people. And I had to see what rewarded them, what made them feel good. They were both different. Whereas, and it's the same thing, it goes with an employee. You know, each employee is different. But the problem is that people don't want to put that effort in. Even teachers, you know, they don't want to put that effort in, or unfortunately, some of them are just too busy to do that.
There's quite a few things in there around breathing, training, especially to be able to calm down so that people can get into that state of flow, as some people call it, or just that open focus brain, which means actually you can operate and perform at a much higher level in terms of, you know, where your brain is able to react and, you know, understand much more broader topics in that moment of open focus. So who can people reach out to, and where can managers and employees go to find some of these great tools or just more information?
Well, again, you can go to the web. There is now, you know, I started 25 years ago, and it was quite the struggle, because many of the drug companies really fought this, especially for the ADD people, the medication. But they still, and a lot of the doctors, you got to be careful, they want to give you medication. But you go to a lot of psychologists now are getting involved. They're transferring over into neuroscience, because it helps with understanding what causes the problem. Before it was we fix the symptoms, now it's what causes the problem. And we can see that. We do brain maps, and we can see how the brain functions. So what you do is you go to, you know, there are various coaches, but I say with all the coaches, whoa, there's so many, but so few good ones. But you have to interview your coach. And I often tell people too, as I've been telling people now for a while, ask why. If a doctor gives you medication, why? Just don't say, okay. It's the same thing with the neurofeedback. Question, what experience do they have? What can they do? It's your life. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very much. Let me just quickly see if I can summarize. So we have a situation that is a global phenomenon where people are getting trapped in business, that, you know, the line managers are creating situations that are just uncomfortable for people. They're leaving, they're burning out. And that's largely driven from this kind of happiness trap, or if you like, you know, the fact that there is a lack of encouragement, support, understanding, managers being able to adapt their management styles depending on the personalities that they're working with. And because of that trapped state, or that state of high anxiety and everything that goes with it, then there are ways in which people can find skills and capabilities to go from the anxious state then into the more open focus state through the kind of things that you mentioned: breathing, meditation, finding a good coach that knows neurofeedback, and really seeing how the brain is working and training to unlock the potential of the brain as well. So with all of that, I think there is a lot of opportunity for people to find ways to get themselves out of these holes that people find themselves with. So maybe then a final question then, in a few words, how would you sum up, or a few words of inspiration for people?
Well, what I can say is, I often say, I look for experience. My inspiration is that I have done it. I practice what I preach. And it really, I'm 70 years old right now. And I look at some people who are my age, and boy, really, I feel sorry for them. And it's been hard work, but I'm so grateful because it has affected my ability to work. Like I said, I've had people come to me later and tell me how much I helped them. I helped my family. It helped me to calm down. It helped me to be more open, focused, and understand them. My daughter asked me, she said, "Why are you doing this? Why are we doing these videos?" And I remember asking you, Mark, I said, "Why are you doing this?" And you gave me an honorable answer: if I can just help one person. And I think that's the wonder, that's the beauty of it all. So again, you and I both know a lot of people. We live in a rich country. I live in a rich country here in Switzerland. There's a lot of people out there. They all look happy, but I know, and behind closed doors, they're not happy. And so this is what my objective is, that I want to be around happy, pleasant people.
Excellent. Thank you very much, John, for your insights today. Greatly appreciated that you've taken the time to talk to me. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the time, Mark. I appreciate it.